Hello, 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 my friend. Hello. Things. Okay, so I'm going to assume I'm kind of working now. I hope so. I see a green ring. Wow, that is okay. So it's a terrible start to a terrible stream. What the hell? Let's go. Let's screw everything up. Thanks, camera. Thank you. It's gonna be one of those days. It's gonna be one of those days. Yeah, just fill in whatever I'm saying by yourself. Just make up the most amazing stuff that I'm saying. Insert it into what I have said, and be amazed. Be amazed. Okay, this is a great start, people. Great start. Great start. Cheers. Cheers. Okay, it was really important, actually. It Whatever I was saying looked important. Look, it was a great start. It was actually a fantastic start. Okay. Technical difficulties aside, and I did like so. I was apologizing for running late. I was like, yeah, no, I'm on the pressure. I'm running late. I was 2 minutes late, which I'm usually not. I'm usually on the dot every single time, and this time I was 2 minutes late. And apparently, God punished me for my tardiness. Apparently, God does not like a slacker who arrives 2 minutes late. No, 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 no. Anyway, I was just sort of explaining that I sort of okay. So last night I sort of had this keyed up and I was just about to set it up, and I just went. So the video that I'd chosen was sort of this one on some random dude from a couple of years ago, some random dude, guy, man, old man yelling at clouds, like mental illness isn't a real thing. And I just thought, I sat there and looked at it and I thought, this is just going to make me angry. This is going to make me really angry. And I think last night I thought, you know what, we need a break. We need to have a laugh. We need to have a break. We need something less depressing. Less depressing, right? Don't you all feel like that? We need something a bit hilarious that we can laugh at and go, yeah, this is just downright stupid, right? This is just downright stupid because it's just been crazy lately. So I just went, nah, scrap it. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing the thing that's going to be depressing and make me angry and depressed and really, the incredibly stupid, dangerous Christian belief. Instead, I'm going to find something absolutely absurd. So I went out and I found something just stupidly absurd because I just, after everything happening, I just could not. I could not, in good conscience or good mental health, do the depressing video that has somebody who is absolutely ridiculous, saying something that you're going, that's not good for society or my well-being. So I went out and I found something that is so stupidly absurd. It's going to be so much better. We can laugh. We can laugh. We can just something that is just ridiculous. So I did so, and so this is from Sling and Stone. Yes, you're getting the allegory already. The Sling and Stone, I presume, Ministries or YouTube channel, which is he's one of those people like our good friend Kirby. If you're unfamiliar with um, Kirby basically makes all of these end of the world predictions and these ridiculous like demonic stuff and things. But this guy is great too. Just because he's so serious about, I don't know. I laughed when I saw it, so I decided to share it with you. And the name of the video for this one is Demons Caught on Camera, in brackets, pray before watching. Yes. So we're supposed to pray before we watch this. Oh, good Lord, protect me from stupidity. There is too much. There is too much stupid, and I need protection. That's my prayer and my. Oh, hang on a second. Stop the stupidity. Look, I don't know why you give me readerships, mate. The technical issues and the high level of unprofessionalism is just rife around here. But anyway, stop the stupidity with 5 readerships. Thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate it. Those go out to Math Pig, Joe Facetious, Neveraith, Clam, Tusk, and David, the Atheist Smith. Woohoo! Thank you so much. Stop Stupidity. Winners, chicken dinners. You win emotes and other benefits, member streams, things. You're here for the technical difficulties? Well, sir, do I have some good news for you? If you're here for the technical difficulties, do I have some good news for you? If you're here for the cringe, you're in luck, my friend. We've got cringe. We've got it here. All for you. Okay, so this guy, I don't know his name. This is the thing. He doesn't put his name on his thing, and I'm pretty sure I understand why. But, you know, he's definitely doing something. He's definitely doing something. So this is sort of, is Math Pig is here? I don't think Robbie's here. No, I think that it just selects random people out of the chat. So apparently Math Pig is random winner today, even though he may not be here. Isn't he on English time anyway? I think so. So yeah.
The spiritual veil is thinning. Demonic and fallen forces are manifesting everywhere in our...
Why is that demonic? Jeffrey Marsh is just... I don't...
society, in people on the streets and...
Yeah, okay, so the spiritual veil is thinning. How do you tell? How do you tell? Do you have a veil-o-meter? I don't... Like, this is the thing. They always say the veil is thinning, and it's like, how can you tell? Like, what's the actual process for telling? Oh, we find lots of demons. You've been saying that for the last 1,000 years. It's really weird.
Politicians and actresses and...
That's Jenny Ortega. She's famously actually pretty upbeat. It's weird.
Even in churches. Don't worry, we'll see how Jesus defeats the enemy all throughout this video, as he alone holds all the power over these dark forces. In him was life, and the life was the light of men, and the light shines.
And apparently he also had the power to create AI images of demons that have no penises. Look. Never trust a demon without a cock. That's all I can say. Obviously. Look, I don't know what's gotten into me today. Veil or veil? That is a good question. That is a good question. I presume the spiritual veil is like the veil of Veronica, like a covering or a curtain. I don't know why they don't use a spiritual curtain. I wonder if there's a spiritual floor mat. I don't know.
In the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. One of the most obvious...
So here's where we're getting into this guy, Patterson. And you might think, oh, he's going to be holding Patterson up as somebody that can find demons and cast demons. This guy famously cast out the COVID demon, if you remember, because that was hilarious. He's like, I cast you out, COVID, and then blew germs into his microphone, like just blew germs all over the crowd. Like it one of the most ironically terrible things that anybody's ever done, because not only did he fail to cast out the COVID, he also just blew germs all across his audience. It was great. It was great. It was great.
Ways to notice the demonic realm is its manifestations in people's faces.
This what was caught at the border. Watch this. This is definitely a spiritual war.
Okay. She screamed, and are demons? Are they now like sort of saying that immigrants coming in that are angry about like being detained? Are they now saying they're demons? It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest with you. It would not surprise me, considering everything else they've said about immigrants. It wouldn't surprise me. Just demons is just one step further. Look, if they start saying that the immigrants are demons,
It's not a spiritual war. Now just imagine how many made it in without being caught. Get prayed up. Loaded up, stacked up. Look at this, man.
It's important to understand that these dark forces are real.
That's a demon? That just looked like a woman to me. Like, yeah, okay, she may be angry, she may have mental health issues, but it's not a demon, my guy. It's so weird. It's so weird.
There's a spiritual war raging every single day for our souls and for the truth of God. The demonic realm
There's a spiritual war raging every day in my pants, sir. Look, unless you can actually show us, like, that there is demons, like, this doesn't show demons. It shows a woman acting, well, kind of feral, to be honest with you. Like, this is not anything that a mental health professional has not seen before. Just saying. Right? This is not anything that anybody working in mental health care has not seen before. And it's not spiritual.
doesn't always manifest looking like some sort of monster or something. Sometimes it's more sly, taking.
Okay, so if you're angry and so enraged that you're animalistic, right? So enraged, that's demonic. But if you're happy and gentle and caring, that's demonic too, because it's gay. Of course. Is it maybe that things are demonic because you don't like them? Maybe that's what's demonic? Oh yeah, yeah, that's it.
On a persona, like what's driving Jeffrey Marsh, the man who's devoted his life to leading kids astray and thinking they're the opposite way that God designed them to be. But looking closely...
Actually, I didn't know who Jeffrey Marsh was, so I looked them up. Apparently they're a very, very kind person who tries to support kids that are gay or bi and having, problems with their parents, trying to, send them to conversion therapy and stuff. Apparently, they are a very, very kind, gentle, and nice person. Everything about them says, hey, they're pretty nice. And, yeah.
Especially with spiritual discernment, it's easy to see there are...
Okay, so spiritual discernment, I always laugh at this, because we'll talk like later on. Such spiritual discernment, this man could not discern his ass with both hands. I swear. Like you'll see later, his powers of critical thinking are almost non-existent, and he claims this power of discernment, and it seems like what is demonic is just things he doesn't like. That's what discernment is. It's saying, I don't like this thing, so I discern it as some spiritual evil. He's like, so Jeffrey Marsh is recommending if your parents, if you're gay and your parents abuse you, either physically or psychologically, that you should go no contact in order to preserve your own health. He is actually an advocate for trying to save the lives of gay children. What are you doing? Sending them to conversion camp that doesn't work and has horrible outcomes? Like, what is demonic about this?
Are demons at work here?
It's okay to be angry.
This war that we are all in.
Yeah, anger is a natural... Like, if you talk to a psychologist, they will tell you anger is a natural emotion that comes up. It's how we deal with that. It's how we express it. It's how we want to constructively express that anger instead of, letting it control us and doing harmful things for ourselves and other people around us. It's okay to be angry. It's just how you react to it that's the thing. So what?
Is not just with demonic forces. It's multi-layered, and we'll go more into that later in this video. But first, it's important to...
What? Michelle Obama's lovely. What is demonic about her? Like, this is so weird to me. What's demonic about Michelle Obama? I mean, it's so ridiculous.
To understand that these fallen forces are doing their best to infiltrate politics. With spiritual eyes, we can see there's something going on.
The Australian government. The Australian government is demonic. Yes, I've always thought so. You got me. You got me. You got me. Yeah, no, I mean, look, they've even got, look, okay, so I'll show you this, just because I have to. See this?
With the ambassador.
See this right here? That is a demonic bird. That is a demonic bird on the coat of arms. That right there. That's proof of the demonic, okay? That bird should never be like that we call the demon emu. The demon emu. Yes, the proof that the Australian government is demonic. Proof.
Of gender in Australia.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Copus Campbell, Australia's new Ambassador for Gender Equality. I'm incredibly honoured to take on this role as the lead international advocate for Australia's commitment to gender equality and the human rights of women and girls and persons of diverse gender identities.
Yeah, so I don't know why, like, that person is just... Stephanie Copus Campbell is just a person working in the government, and that is generally what the people working in the government look like when they try to do like ads and stuff, right? I don't think she is the ambassador for gender equality anymore, right? I think that hang on a second. Yeah, so it's now it is now somebody else. Like she doesn't do that position anymore. It's Michelle O'Byrne now. And this is Michelle O'Byrne, right? Like, this is just a normal everyday woman. And like the other woman's just like, okay, so politicians are not usually good at doing sort of, live performances and reading of scripts and things like that. No reason to think she's a demon. Why is she a demon? Why is she a demon? I don't... Like, there's no... So here's the thing. All he's saying is, hey, this person's talking about something I don't like. They're a demon. And my proof is they're talking about something that I don't like. Why? Why? They're stilted and they're kind of awkward. They're a demon. And now Mundami, he's having fun with big smiles. He's a demon. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Countless connections to the fallen realm, with Zorhan parading around and supporting such things as this, or following a fallen angel-created religion, to name a few. The demonic fallen realm really does its best to infiltrate the highest-ranking positions of government.
I don't think the mayor of New York is the highest ranking, but, like, seriously? Why? Because he's not our religion and he goes to pride, therefore demon. Like, are you high? What is wrong with these people? This is so funny. Like, just the idea. Wow.
Which makes sense with what the Bible tells us about Satan and his influence on the world. Again, the devil took him up on an exceedingly high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to him, "All these things I will give you if you will fall down and worship me." Then Jesus said to him, "Away with you, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only you shall serve, whose minds the God of this age has blinded, who do not believe, lest the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine on them."
Okay, so because your book says a thing, then Mandami is obviously a demon. Like, he couldn't just be a guy following a different religion. He's got to be a demon. I don't... What? What? Like, these people just can't be people that are wrong. They've got to be demons. Why? Are there people that do things that aren't are incorrect or immoral in the Bible without being demons? Yes, there are. Well, what makes you think these are demons? I don't understand. Like, why are they... No information is offered. No explanation given. Just, they do things I don't like, therefore demons. Yep.
Finding out that some of the elites of the world are involved in such evils opened the eyes of the founder of Wikipedia to seeing that there's a spiritual war going on, and this led him to give his life to Jesus Christ.
A friend of mine was opening my eyes to the existence of various elite pedophile rings. Very weird. A lot of the people who are involved in such activities have occult beliefs. And doesn't that mean that...
Do they? Do they? I mean, if we're going to talk about this kind of ring, we got to talk about the current president, who was very, very involved in the whole thing, allegedly. That he knew the main players in it. He was neck deep in that sort of social setting, the accusations, the cover-up that is currently happening in the White House. Like, does he have any occult beliefs? No. No. I don't know where this guy... Like, this is the guy who created Wikipedia? Is that true? Is this Larry Sanger? Let's have a look. Yeah, this is Larry Sanger, I believe. Yes, Larry Sanger. And I mean, just because he... Like, why are we listening to this guy just because he founded Wikipedia? He's actually a co-founder. The primary founder is actually a guy called Jimmy Wales. He initially launched Nupedia before adopting Sanger's wiki concept. So all this guy did is contribute. So he wasn't the one that, like, sort of started off the whole thing. He just suggested it be a wiki so people could send in whatever and then it's curated. So he came up with the wiki concept. Why are we listening to this guy? I don't know. I have no idea.
If they're going to go to all these risks and these moral horrors as part of their beliefs, that's putting a lot on the line for something that you actually think is a lie. If it were true, though, then that would at least mean that the spirit world is true, like demons exist. Well, then doesn't that mean it's possible that God exists? So that led me to think, maybe I should read the Bible. I was reading everything carefully, sometimes twice. I was looking up...
Yeah, okay, so number one, he has not actually demonstrated that the people involved in the Epstein scandal and everything had any occult beliefs whatsoever, right? Like, I don't know that that's true. I highly doubt it, to be honest with you. I think that they had very, very nefarious aims, but we don't need demons for nefarious aims. Companies and corporations have had nefarious aims for ages, usually around making money. And a lot of it, as far as I understand it, was blackmail material. So power is a big thing that you know, they were doing the crime for. So I don't know, like, I don't believe that they're actually doing it for some kind of occult reason. I think they were doing it for very, very material things, mostly money and power. And, you know, their own urges that they you know, couldn't basically rein in for whatever. And it's absolutely sickening. But that, like, humans are capable of being monsters without demons involved at all. So, no, I don't think they were doing it for occult reasons. I think they were doing it for, you know, political reasons. I think they were doing it for espionage reasons. I think they were doing it for their own gratification, which is just sickening. But, you know, there's no evidence that it's anything occult.
Answers to all my questions to, you know, understand what it meant. If you actually study that stuff, it makes sense. There's a reason why very, very smart people, some of the smartest people in history, in fact, have been Christian.
One of the most...
Yeah, and some of the smartest people in history haven't been Christian. That's the thing. It's sort of like, oh, but some smart people have been Christian, they must be right. Well, what about all the smart people that aren't Christian? Oh, no, ignore them. Yeah. That's an actual terrible statement to make. And I don't know why we're listening to this guy anyway. He just founded Wikipedia. You know, just because you founded something doesn't make you an expert on anything.
Most obvious places that we are seeing a spiritual war raging is the attack on Christianity and the church around the world. In places like Sudan and Nigeria and many other places around the world, Christians are attacked, hunted down, killed, churches and homes burned. This is happening every single day. We should always remember to be steadfast.
Yeah, so Christian persecution in Nigeria and religious violence in Nigeria. Now, there's something sort of to this kind of thing. But it's sort of whether it's true or not and where the numbers are coming from is a problem, because we don't know where the numbers are coming from, and we don't know why they're actually sort of dying, because apparently a lot of Muslims have been killed as well. So it might be that it might be a ethnic problem rather than you know, just purely attacks on Christians in Nigeria. The problem is that Donald Trump tweets it out and everybody just, you know, his entire base just believed it. So there's ACLED, which is a monitor of violence in West Africa, has produced different numbers. Its senior analyst, Lad Serwit, did not directly address the inter-society reports, but told the BBC that the figure of 10,000 deaths touted on social... 100,000 deaths, sorry, and this is where I'm getting it from, the BBC, would include all acts of political violence in Nigeria, so it would not be true to say this is the number of Christians that have been killed since 2009. Just under 53,000 civilians, Muslims and Christians have been reported killed in targeted political violence. Looking at the period of September of 2020 to 2025, 21,000 were killed in abductions, attacks, sexual violent use of explosives. 384 incidents where Christians were specifically targeted. 317 people died. So they're just a tiny proportion. So we don't know where Trump got these figures from. And independent research groups are actually saying, no, that is not what's happening here. In fact, the majority that has died in Nigeria is actually Muslims. So this guy's just repeating a tweet that Trump said because he's an idiot. Because he sees Trump tweet it and automatically takes it as the truth. Why? Who knows? Who knows? But if you actually look at the actual figures behind it and independent reporting behind it, A, it's not majority Christian, and B, it's got nothing to do with religion. Right? Like, we're not saying that Christians haven't been killed, okay? Definitely Christians have been killed in Nigeria. Definitely not sort of saying, hey, you haven't been. But it hasn't been because they're Christian.
In our prayers for the persecuted church around the world. Remember the prisoners as if chained with them, those who are mistreated, since you yourselves are...
Look, a Islamist could definitely have like terrorized a Christian mother and her 3 children. Yes. The question is, were they doing it because she was Christian? Was it a religiously motivated thing? If it was, does that mean it is widespread? No. One instance of, like, you're not showing all of the Muslims being terrorized as well.
In the body also. And here's an encouragement for those who are dealing with such persecution. Blessed are you when they revile and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Churches in America are under attack as well.
Churches in America are under attack. Where are these churches? Okay, all right. I believe there was a shooting in a church, but I think it was a Christian that did it, so I'm not sure why. Yeah, 2025, there was the Catholic church shooting. Wow, there's so many in America. I just, it's really, really heartbreaking. Yeah, and that was sort of, I think he's going to point to a transgender person doing a shooting at a church, and it's sort of like, well, you can't just point to one and say there's a war. Okay, you can't just point to one person and say there is a war on Christianity.
With weapons or radical religious ideologies like in the Middle East and in Africa and other places in the world, but with radical ideologies.
How queer was Jesus? He was an observant Jew, but he was 30 years old, no wife, no job, hung out with 12 other dudes. That's pretty queer.
The spiritual attacks within the church.
Okay, so he's saying a radical ideology. None of which what he said is actually untrue, right? And when he's saying how queer is Jesus, it's kind of a play on words. He's making a joke that, hey, like queer means weird and also means homosexual, right? He's just making a play. It's just a joke, right? Like, it's just a joke. But yeah, it is very strange that Jesus was a 30-year-old Jewish man without a wife who's apparently he didn't have a wife and hung out with 12 guys. It's kind of weird. It's not the usual thing for a Jewish man to do. Just saying, that's kind of weird. Usually even a rabbi, definitely a rabbi, should get married. So yeah, it's it's kind of weird, it's kind of queer. But and he's saying that this is the attacks on the church.
Won't always be this obvious. Even people who may have started with pure intentions can change in a wrong direction. For instance, like Kenneth Copeland. Something about this next video just feels very off to me. Oh,
well, your feelings must be fact, right? Like, yeah, absolutely. If you feel a certain way about things, it has to be true. And this is the problem with Christians. They say they have the power of discernment. Remember he said he had the power of discernment, right? The power of discernment. He can discern things that are hidden from the rest of us. And the problem there is that the power of discernment that they claim to have, seems to run on their feelings. That's how it seems to run.
Leave it at that. Pray for the Lord to direct you in all your ways and in all truths.
Who do you think you are today? The more we learn about this covenant of God. What blood? The blood of this covenant, oh God. Yes, like Moses of old. There's the coming one. Oh. Don't ever do it. Don't ever feel sorry for yourself. Don't ever do it. Absolutely stunning. Just delicious. It's so good. And he will be like Moses, and he'll live 120 years. And say, yeah. Preach it, brother. Preach it, brother. Preach it. Just.
Yeah. So this is Kenneth Copeland at his finest. It's Copeland, right? Yeah. Copeland. This guy. I mean, yeah. He's a weirdo. I will grant him, yes, he's a weirdo, but he's just riling up the crowd. Look, Kenneth Copeland, like most of these prosperity gospel preachers and these sort of these evangelical preachers, they're showmen at heart, right? So he gets the crowd all emotive and motivated. Hey, brother, and all of this emotion wound up. So they come in with the music and they come with the songs, and people have this emotional release about all their fears and their problems and stuff. And then he takes all their money. Yep. So there's nothing demonic about this. He's simply being a showman. And it's tried and true. For ages. P.T. Barnum used to do the same thing. He was a showman. Like, amp the crowd up, use that rhetoric, use that voice, and get them all amped up. It's a tried and true thing. But Kenneth Copeland would then come and take their money. So, it's kind of weird, though, that he's pointing at this guy who probably did try or did. Like, he had a big following. And he's sort of going, oh, this man's a demon. Then why make such a big ministry? He had a massive ministry. It's kind of weird, right? Like, if I'm the devil trying to, sway people away, this guy's doing it wrong. Seriously, I don't know. He's got a point. Like, Copeland was a weirdo. I don't think he was demonic.
Before the cross. And we have a healing covenant. Dwells in me, the pure, spotless blood of God. And Hesed was performed for me. He's my blood brother, and my father is my friend.
If you ever feel that you encounter...
Look, he may have a point on this one, but I still think that I still think that he's just playing for his audience. Kenneth Copeland knew what his audience wanted and he delivered it. Now, you can troll through, like, because he did so much, it's pretty easy to, find him acting weird. You can probably find me acting weird at certain points. Like, that doesn't mean I'm a demon. Like, I could probably go through your library and find you acting weird. Like, look at this guy, his dead stare and stuff. Why?
Dark spiritual forces, rebuke them in Jesus' name. They flee at his presence. You believe that there is one God. You do well. Even the demons believe and tremble.
I literally saw a demon manifest in this young man. He came out the hotel. He looked like a young man, almost looked like Justin Bieber. And when he sat down, it's like...
Okay, so notice the music in the background when people do these videos. And I'm not blaming the Sling and Stone guy for this, right? But this is just some random person, probably with some young homeless person, saying that he manifested a demon. Like, why? Why is this person a demon? Why? Like, he's just gone and grabbed someone's random, like, TikTok post and said, oh, this is proof. Absolutely. What?
he changed and started chanting something. He's mumbling something like under his breath. I'll start rebuking it in the name of Christ, because that's a straight up demon. And if you look at his side right there in the window, you can see his shadow. It's a demon on him, and it's manifested right in front of you.
The physical expression on that man's face clearly changed. This is something I...
What? What? He just put a hood over his head. What are you talking about?
The physical expression on that man's face clearly changed.
The lighting changed. The lighting changed. What? Yeah, no, you're probably right, Sith. You're probably right. He was method acting, got a little coat. No, I totally get you. But his audience loved it. That's the thing. His audience was like, oh, Canon Copeland's the best. He is so chosen by God. Give him all of our money kind of thing. So whatever he was doing was working for what Kenneth Copeland wanted to do. And what I think he wanted to do was make a boatload of money. You know, I think that's why he was so over the top, because he gave the audience what they wanted. They wanted him to be over the top. They thought he was fantastic. I mean, I thought he was an absolute douche, and but he did give us, and do remember this, he did give us the scene of a pastor trying to blow the breath of God onto COVID and get rid of it. I mean, that was diamond level comedy. It really was. It really, come on, you've got to give him that. He gave us that amazing performance. Can I find a video of that? Because that's just too good. It's too good. I'll probably get copyright struck. I don't even care. Blows on COVID. Because that was... How long is it? Oh, yeah, here we go. Here we go. So this is the medical response of Kenneth Copeland. Absolutely medical. Like you've got, there's papers written on this. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Are you ready for the medical miracle that is Kenneth Copeland? And look, all of his seats are empty because it's COVID. If you lived through COVID times, well done. We got through it. It didn't last forever. Science defeated COVID. Okay, the vaccines, the medical treatments, we lost a lot of people, but we got through it because of science, not because Kenneth Copeland blew germs out into his non-existent audience.
Win! Almighty! Strong!
I just love that he's got the backup group as well. I love the backup group. It's just like strong. That I gotta say though, I mean, Kenneth Copeland is really carrying his backup. They are not putting in the effort he is, and I feel like he is chewing the scenery right here, like just chewing the scenery, right? And the rest of those guys are like strong. They should be like strong. Come on, you gotta put some more oomph into it, guys. Come on, get the balls out.
South wind. Heat.
Like you can't just heat. No, come on, you gotta put some oomph in, guys. Come on, pull the lead out. Kenneth Copeland is doing all the work.
Burn this thing. In the name of Jesus. Satan, you bow your knee. You fall on your face.
Yeah, even he thinks it's ridiculous. Come on. Come on, you can't laugh in the middle of your totally serious exorcism of a deadly disease. You can't do that, all right? Like, how does anyone believe this? Even he can't, like, keep his shit together when he's doing something this ridiculous.
COVID-19?
COVID-19.
I blow!
You certainly do blow, sir. You 100% blow. Yes. You blow. I agree.
The wind of God!
The wind of God!
On you.
On you.
You are destroyed forever.
You are destroyed forever.
And you'll never be back.
And you'll never be back.
Hilariously, COVID hasn't actually gone away. Like, we basically have vaccines and stuff, but hasn't actually gone away. So hilariously, and that's how, and ladies and gentlemen, that's how COVID was cured forever. Nobody has ever gotten it since. Please believe me. Kenneth Copeland, ladies and gentlemen, what a weirdo. Like, but here's the thing. I don't think he's a demon. Because, like, seriously. Like, you know, he couldn't even keep a straight face through that. He could not keep a straight face through that. He just couldn't. I couldn't either. That's hilarious.
This is something I believe.
So this thing, the guy did not change his face. He simply put his hood out and the shadows on his face changed. Like you do when you put a hood over your head. He didn't even change expression. This is Jenna Ortega, famously in Wednesday. I think she's wonderful. She was also in one of the Scream movies, I think, one of the latest Scream movies. But yeah, we're gonna critique her, apparently, because apparently that's something Christians do.
If we are seeing with the actress of Wednesday, Jenna Ortega. But before we look at that, here's some more evidence of the demonic realm breaking into our physical reality. Everything evil that happens in the world is not necessarily a demon. We have other forces at work here, described to us in Ephesians 6:12. Principalities, powers, spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. The important thing to note
that looks like a shadow to me.
Here is that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. This video here, we can see some sort of manifestation in our reality. This type of thing is being...
or a person just getting up. What says that that's a demon?
Station in our reality. This type of thing...
I don't understand what makes that a demon.
Principalities, powers, spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. The important thing to note here is that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood.
Person
this video
up.
Here, we can see some sort of manifestation in our reality. This type of thing.
I don't see that as a demon. It just looks like a person. I don't understand it. Travis Scott, demon crowd surfing,
is being witnessed all over the world in many different ways.
You mean the shadow? A shadow? That's it? A shadow is a demon?
Whether it's demons, fallen angels, principalities, powers, spiritual hosts of wickedness, it doesn't really matter. All that we really need to know is that Jesus Christ has authority.
To me, it just looks like a person and the camera's got some artifacting going on. It's like the flat earthers when they see these things happen and they're like, oh, they vanished out of frame. Yet there's stuff that happens like ghost images with the artifacting, right? It doesn't mean that it's doctored or there's something there or whatever. It just means that the camera doesn't show what's actually there because some of the data is screwed up. This whole thing is kind of, well, see this blurry Bigfoot? It's got to be Bigfoot. Like, it's not a good image at all. Yeah, you're right, Kings Mason. Always blurry somehow. Yeah. Or that second one was just a shadow. Like, how does a shadow say that it's a demon? A bird could have flown in front of the light.
Authority over them all. And Jesus came and spoke to them, saying, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. And having disarmed the powers and authorities, he made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by the cross. So what's most important is that we understand that Jesus has all of the authority over all of the spiritual realm. It's also important to know that there are different levels and different forces that are at work here.
Well, how do we go about falsifying that statement. Jesus has authority over all of the spiritual realms. So you've got a statement and a claim that you're making. You're claiming that there is a spiritual realm, that demons exist in it, and Jesus has authority over all of the spiritual realm. How do you actually falsify or investigate that claim? Like, just say you're promoting two different approaches to people that are displaying this kind of behavior. One is psychology, psychiatry, and psychotherapy, right? And the other is Jesus. How do we actually investigate which of these methodologies are more effective in combating what the symptoms that we see in front of us? Like, because psychology and psychiatry, we use a lot of methodologies. We use statistics, we use treatments, we use basically studies and analysis of outcomes. But Jesus, we can't use a damn thing. We can't even see if Jesus is being applied properly. Like, we can't do anything with it. So it's kind of a useless claim, and one that should just be dismissed on surface level, because we can't actually investigate anything to do with it. So it would be more helpful if these people actually gave us a way to investigate it rather than just making claims. Because anyone can make claims, right? Anyone can just say, hey, my snake oil can cure everything under the sun. How do we actually investigate whether that's true? And we can investigate whether some snake oil works or whether it doesn't. And, you know, when we apply the Jesus methodology to actual sick people, it does not seem to work. It has the same efficiency as chance. Like, people sometimes just get better. That's what comes out of the mix. You know, people doing intercessory prayer, praying for other people to get better. If they know they're being prayed for, they actually do worse. And that was from a Templeton study. So how do we tell whether the Jesus methodology actually has results? There's no way to.
If you want to construct biblical theology, by definition, you don't do that from church tradition. You do that from exegesis of the biblical texts, understood in context. And so sometimes the church fathers are able to do that really efficiently, other times not so much. You know, in this one, let me just give your audience an example. It's very common. I don't know about what Eastern Orthodoxy's position on this is, but Catholic and Protestant, you know, 2/3 of the rest, you know, we'll teach something like, where do demons come from? Oh, the demons, you know, we get demons from fallen angels that rebelled or fell with Satan sometime prior to the temptation of Adam.
That is one interpretation, but it sort of comes from Revelations, and the war in heaven sort of alluded to by Revelations. So they kind of piggyback it on the back of that. Which, you know, isn't the Old Testament. Yeah, the war in heaven, like, you know, the whole idea that Lucifer sort of, or Satan rebelled against God and was thrown down to become demons, that is not in the Old Testament whatsoever. That is in the New Testament, right? It's where I believe it's one of the archangels. I think it's Michael. They fight against the dragon, which is how they describe Satan in the New Testament. Not done in the Old Testament, just the New Testament. And they're expelled from heaven because of it. So Revelation is really where all of this comes from. And it's not directly said. It sort of has to be interpreted that way. But yeah, it's still the in the Bible. So if you're sort of saying, hey, that's not actually how it happened, then Revelation is you're probably saying is wrong.
Adam and Eve, you know, sometime prior to what we know as the fall. And that's taught as doctrine. There isn't a single verse in the Bible that says that.
The most common way that...
Well, there is. There kind of is. I mean, not in the Old Testament, correct? Let's see. I'll just have to find it. I know it's in Revelations. Revelations 12, I think. Yeah, there we go. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon and his angels fought back, but he was not strong enough and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent. Oh, sorry, I'll share it. War broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon and his angels fought back, but he was not strong enough and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the old world astray. He was hurled to the earth and his angels with him. Right, so it does allude to that. Now, whether that that happened after or before the fall of Adam and Eve, etc., it's a bit unclear. But that's where they get it from. So it is one interpretation. I'll grant you, it needs an interpretation to work. But it definitely does allude to the angels being thrown out of heaven. Whether that's in the future or in the past, bit hazy. It's up to interpretation. But that's where they're getting it from. But it is kind of true. It doesn't outright say, hey, this is what happened before Adam and Eve. He's right. Super chat from Left-Handed Jedi for 10 US. Thank you so much, Jedi. I really appreciate it. The Order of St. George are Dragon Slayers. Union number 69. Whoa, best one ever. Union number 69. If you have a Drake, we'll make it quake. Huzzah! If you have a Drake, we'll make it quake. That sounds like the motto of a dragon-slaying company. You know, like Order of St. George. You know, isn't there a bank of St. George Bank? Are they? If you have a Drake, will make it quake. Nice.
We are seeing these evil manifestations in the world is through people, but they're also manifest.
Okay, so he showed this earlier where somebody hassled the cross and fell down, but I've seen this video before, right? Because Muggins here has to look through all of these terrible videos and these horrible claims in order to find stuff to present to you, the audience, and make you giggle incessantly, hopefully. That they sort of claim, oh, he was struck down by the Lord, kind of thing, when he hassled the
way
cross.
That we are seeing these
but
evil
what you see, that's a taser, okay? He wasn't struck down by the Lord. He was struck down by the taser. So when he went rigid and fell back, that wasn't Jesus, that was security. Because it's funny, because I've seen this played as, oh, he hassled Jesus and then he was struck rigid and fell down by Jesus. No, that was probably 10,000 volts of current. That was definitely electricity, not Jesus. Not Jesus. Oh, St. George was bought out by Westpac? Yeah. I know my bank was bought out by Commonwealth, I think. They're always being bought out. I don't know how you buy another bank. That's very interesting. Bank of Melbourne relaunched it. Okay. Good on you, Melbourne. Good on you.
In the world is through people, but they're also manifesting.
Yeah, and this one's hilarious. I've seen this before as well.
In other physical ways, which we'll look at after this next video.
The police responded to a call of a man acting strange in the church. What followed was something demonic.
You can't really do that. That's the church's property.
Because I'm Jesus.
Because I'm Jesus.
Nobody else needs to die.
You are under arrest. Put your hands behind your back now.
No, I'm not.
Now, yes you are.
No.
You're gonna get tased. Put your hands back now.
Yeah. That's not demonic. That's somebody with mental health issues being tased. He thought he was Jesus. There's nothing like, what's demonic about that? I don't get what's demonic. Look, if you go and speak with people working in mental health care facilities, they will tell you that they've seen this kind of behavior before. It's not demons, okay? It's just people that need help. It's not demons. You can't exorcise them. It's not something that happens. It is just, people with schizophrenia. And to us, it looks incredibly creepy when somebody has a schizoid episode, right? They will talk to people that aren't there. They will yell. They will scream. They will act animalistic. They have a number of symptoms that present themselves. But it's important not to demonize them because there's no demon, right? We know what causes these things. We can study schizophrenia under an MRI. We can see the brainwave patterns that produce this kind of thing. There's nothing spiritual about it. It's just people needing help. And this guy, he might be high, right? If you've seen somebody who's really high, they can look demonic, but they're not. It's just chemicals in their brain. Hey, Kelly.
This video is taking place in a Catholic church. The next one takes place in an Orthodox church. Both of those denominations I do critique where I believe they are biblically inaccurate, and I do believe it's important that we aim to seek what's ultimately biblically true. But seeing these attacks in these two churches shows me that there is still power there, knowing that they do.
Why? If they're biblically inaccurate and leading people down the wrong path, why are the demons attacking them? Why? Because if they're leading people the wrong path and they're biblically inerrant and you're claiming, hey, they have misreadings of scripture, they're going to lead people astray, then why do demons attack them? If they're trying to destroy God's, salvation or whatever, they're doing what the demons want. Why? And if they're biblically, wrong, if they're wrong on their biblical interpretation, and you can still go to heaven by going to the Catholic Church anyway, then what does it matter? If the interpretation can be so loose that they can be completely wrong, but you can get into, then what's the problem with them being biblically inaccurate? It's all a mystery. But, this is what happens when you're using your power of discernment as opposed to critical thinking. The power of discernment, which really, to me, all I see when people use the power of discernment is my feelings. Because you can look at somebody having a drug-fueled episode or a schizo episode and go, oh, that's evil, there's something demonic, there's something, and it feels unsettling. I get it. But we don't go, well, that's what it feels like. My power of discernment says there's a demon. No, we use our critical thinking, and all of our studies point to there being no demons. It is just in the mind. It is a brain thing, not a spirit thing. Oh boy. I'm getting angry anyway. And this was the funnier video. If you did see the start, I said I had a video. It was too depressing. This is the funnier one. This is the funnier one, okay? I had something really depressing that I didn't show. And Left-Handed Jedi rewards me for $5 US. Thank you, Jedi. Richard Simmons, exercising demon. Yep. If you're unaware with Richard Simmons, he was a exercise guru. He was so camp. He was funny. And exercising demons, sweating to the old ones, Cthulhu, Fatagan. Fatagan is like one of the words in H.P. Lovecraft's sort of mythos that was like what the demons said, Fatagan. Thank you, Jedi. I think we all needed to say it. And Richard Simmons, I mean, he was just something else. Richard Simmons definitely was a guy giving people what they wanted,
Both proclaim that Jesus Christ is the only way to heaven, proclaim that he's the Son of God. That's really where the Bible tells us how you get to God. And again, while there are some major disagreements, in my opinion, with those two denominations, why would Satan attack them if there wasn't something there he wanted to corrupt?
Yeah. If it doesn't matter which denomination you are in to, go to heaven, then why are you guys fighting all the time? I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, and that remember bath salts. Yeah. People went ape shit in the back. Yeah. I mean, I have seen people on stuff acting in all kinds of peculiar manners, and if I was a very, very suggestive person, I've been raised with demons and stuff, I could understand people going, "Oh, well, that's demonic," kind of thing. But I understand that it's just chemical changes in the brain cause people to act in ways that are very disquieting, unsettling, creepy. Yes. Demonic? No. Loud banging.
Why would Satan
Man, I want to hear this loud
if there
banging.
wasn't something there he wanted to corrupt?
That just sounded like somebody knocking on a door. Like, that's someone knocking on a door.
Where's that coming from? Maybe it's woodpeckers. It's either that or the demons.
Yeah, between woodpeckers and the demons. Oh boy. You mean you have woodpeckers in the area and you go, oh, it must be the demons. Like knocking on wood. Look, old buildings make noises. So, like, someone was probably at the door. But yeah, if you have woodpeckers in the area and you have knocking, it's probably the fucking woodpeckers, not demons.
They love to interrupt. And you know what demons really hate? Is it when you laugh at them.
Well, then the demons are absolutely hating this stream then. Because I am absolutely loving this demon fest. Like, obviously the demons, yeah. Obviously.
You don't take them seriously, and you just say, oh, it's just you. It's just you, Goofy, trying to interrupt the telling of one of the greatest stories and parables ever told. Well, maybe I'll chase off the demons. I'll be right back.
Or the woodpecker, as he sort of alluded to. It could be a woodpecker. The fact that he brought it up probably means there's woodpeckers in the area.
Hey, you guys. Hey, be gone! Be gone!
In fairness, if I saw this guy yelling at his church, I would probably leave too. If I saw this guy, mind you, this would probably scare off a woodpecker as well. If there's a woodpecker in the tree, like behind them, it's probably gone as well. So we don't actually, my money is on demonic woodpeckers. Absolutely. Have you seen Woody Woodpecker? Have you seen that cartoon? If that's not demonic, I don't know what is, quite frankly. That laugh, that demonic laugh, that's a demon, absolutely. That's gotta be. Nothing natural laughs like that, quite frankly.
And don't disturb us anymore.
Yeah, real convincing, mate. Real convincing. And don't disturb us anymore. When somebody gets rid of demons, I want some authority that this man does not possess. I want a "Begone, demons, in the name of Jesus." I want some Kenneth Copeland out of this. What is this? Go away and don't bother us again, okay? That's not the authority of Jesus. This man, he's like Kenneth Copeland's backup dancers or whatever they were. He's not carrying the authority of the Lord. I am really disappointed in this Orthodox priest. He's not putting in the effort. He needs to dig deep and find, that real. He's got to be the part, and he's just not. He's just sort of snickering as he's going, please leave us alone.
All right, the peace of the Lord.
The spiritual veil.
All right, the peace of the Lord. You do not seem like you have a lot of authority. I want Kenneth Copeland to come down here and go, now, Satan, I'm going to blow you away. That's what I want to see. Yeah, look, my grifters. I have the power of discernment when it comes to my grifters. I want grifters that are putting in 100%, not a lukewarm effort like this guy. Don't just go out there going, "Hey, demon, go away." I want a Kenneth Copeland. I want him to be going, "Now hear me." You know, like, come on. That was a performance that was just terrible. I feel cheated. I feel robbed. My discernment hurts. It got me right in the discernment. No.
Appears to be thinning. This next guy caught a reflection of some fallen-looking entity in the reflection in a window. But what's great about this, and most important again, is that this guy understands that if Jesus Christ is your king, you are protected.
With the veil thinning and the world as the way it is, I want to...
How do we check how thin the veil... Do you have a veilometer? I want to know. I asked this before. How do we check how thin the veil is? And how do we check how thin it can get? Or how... Is there a way to thicken the veil? Why am I asking this? This is ridiculous. Like, how do we check to see if there is a veil? And how do we check to see how thin it is? Because people have been saying, oh, the veil thins at midnight. Or Halloween. Can we check that?
Show a picture. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that say it's not real. But...
Oh, absolutely, Jinx. Yes. Absolutely. You need Bob Larson, yes. The real exorcist. He's basically an evangelical cosplaying as a Catholic priest. It is grift extreme. Yeah, see, that's what we need here. At least he puts in for his grift. He acts, you know.
Blah, blah, blah. But I figured I would just put it out there and want to know what your thoughts are on it. So here's the picture. It's just my daughter playing. I took a picture of her, and I noticed something
Oh, that's kind of wholesome and cute.
Strange in the background on the reflection. Now, I know my windows are dirty. I know there's a lot of, reflections can play tricks on people.
Yeah.
But this is pretty interesting because I was sitting down on the couch and was not standing up. So the shadow, whatever this figure is, I don't know how that could have showed up. And I've had some crazy spiritual warfare lately. And
you've had some crazy spiritual warfare lately. What does that mean? And how do you define that? Spiritual warfare. Right? Spiritual warfare. Have you been conscripted for some sort of army? And it always makes me nervous when people are talking about spiritual war, because they always seem to suggest that atheists and Islamic people, they're on the other side of this spiritual warfare. They're the enemy of some sort, or at least the enemy is acting through them, right? So it's a problem here, because I'm not aware of being in any war. Right? I'm not in a war against Christians. I'm not in a war against Islamic people. I have differences of opinion, but that does not make a war. This spiritual warfare thing is really, really unsettling, because, when we talk about warfare, usually they're the last terms that people, like when you say, I'm going to war against this, it's usually in terms of a last resort, because it sort of says, hey, I'm going to attack it. People sort of saying, hey, this spiritual war against the atheists really makes me nervous, because, it might be hyperbolic, but it is dangerous talk, because often sort of a metaphorical war breaks out into an actual war with some people.
And when you zoom in on the face, this thing literally looks like he's mocking or laughing.
So this is called pareidolia. Now, pareidolia is a phenomenon that the brain does that puts recognizable objects to shapes. Okay, so cloud watching is essentially pareidolia. It's basically your brain looking for patterns in the clouds and associating that with actual objects, because that's what the brain does. That's what it's sort of, evolved to do, is look at just patterns in the information it's getting around us and identifying patterns that it knows are things. And that's what it does. pareidolia car. So there's a car that is really, really good. I can never spell pareidolia. Yeah. So it's mostly used in connection with seeing faces, and we've got a perchance to see faces. I'm trying to find the picture that I'm looking for. Right, here we go. So yeah, that, right? And you see it and you go, oh, face. Someone made it look like a face. Right? Like it's not strange, it's not weird, it's just what the brain does. Right? The brain just goes, oh, that thing. And so that's essentially what's happening here. It's pareidolia. It's a very well-known phenomenon, right? And that's just dirt, and it looks like a laughing mouth, right? You can see the teeth and the nose and the eyes kind of thing and the other teeth. But what's all this stuff down here? Why is that not clearly a chin? It's because your brain picks that apart, and it's got a tendency to see faces. Right? This could just be a normal shadow, right? And what's this bulge over here, right? Is his head bulged? If you actually look at it with a semblance of critical thinking, you'll realize that this isn't a person. That's not a face. That's just dirt, and your brain assigns faces to it, right? Like that's what we see. And it's a very well-known phenomenon. We will automatically see faces when none exist. It's a very well-known phenomenon. Pareidolia, it's very well-known.
And that was a time in my life where it was just upside down. It's still not perfect, but I definitely know there's been demonic influence, especially ever since I started doing TikTok videos.
And why did he see a demon? It's because that's what he believes in. Like, he's already primed himself by going, oh, there must be demons in my life because I'm having such a hard time. I'm having all this spiritual warfare. And then he sees this thing, pareidolia kicks in, he sees a face, demon. It's not hard to understand how he came to this conclusion. But the question is there actually a demon there? Right? That's the question. Because we know that our minds automatically see faces where there are no faces.
Because the spiritual warfare increases. The enemy's going to try to do everything that he can to sway you off your path. But the face on this thing is pretty interesting. Now, I don't want to post this to bring light to it, because our battle, again, is not against flesh and blood, right? It's a spiritual battle. It's always been a spiritual battle. But I don't know. It's pretty convincing to me.
You don't want to bring light to it, but it's pretty... Yeah. I mean, I believe this guy. I believe that he is being honest in what he's saying. Right? That he thinks there's spiritual warfare. He thinks there's a demon because it looks convincing to him. I think he, I'm not saying he's lying. I'm saying that his brain has fooled him, and he's been primed by religion to automatically believe in demons. So of course he ascribes it to a demon. Of course he does. It's not hard to see why, but we have to be aware that our mind and our eyes can play tricks on us. They can be fooled pretty easily, actually. They can be fooled. Optical illusions, pareidolia, like seeing faces where none exist, sort of confirmation bias. All of these things play tricks on us.
And it doesn't sit right with me, and I just wanted to share it and get your thoughts on it. So at the end of the day, nothing can hurt us, nothing can touch us when Jesus is your king, and we'll always be protected. Again, I'm sure there's going to be people that say this is...
Yeah, and how do we know that Jesus is your king and you're protected? Because the demon hasn't done anything. It hasn't actually manifested or done anything to you directly. Yeah, or it's just not a demon. That's the other explanation. It's not a demon. It's a trick of the light and the dirt, as you said, and a tendency for people to see faces where no faces exist.
Fake, or it's due to whatever. There's always going to be an answer. But to me, I think Satan and his demons can show up in whatever way that they want. And yeah, take it for what that is. Either way, the time is close. Just look at the world. It's crazy.
Christians have been saying, look at the world for the last 2,000 years. Saying that, like, there's episodes of people saying, absolutely, the Black Death is the end of the world. Because that was one of the plagues that came before the end of the world in what was Black Plague, like 1300s or something. You know, and they were writing that, hey, this is the end, because it is so catastrophic, right? So the Black Plague was about half of Europe's population dead, gone, wiped, right? It was the end of the world as far as they can see. Thing is, it wasn't. And don't get me wrong, it was a catastrophe. You know, millions and millions of people died. It was not the end of the world. It was not the end times, as Christians always have been saying.
Crazy right now.
The easiest way for
No, the Black Plague was crazy. You know, like you in your house, you lived in a house, and basically, statistically, one of your neighbors would have their house wiped out, right? Like that is crazy. You know, these times, yeah, they're not as stable as I'd like them to be, but they're not as crazy as history has been. Unfortunately, you know, it's been crazy. Yes, we live in interesting times. Yes, does not automatically mean the end of the world. It doesn't.
Evil forces to show up around you is when you give access to...
Oh, I don't know about that one, Jedi. That's an interesting question. During the Black Plague, did the Pope lock down the Vatican? I mean, I know a lot of nobles. Yeah, apparently. Now, take this with a grain of salt, because this is the AI overview, but it says that Pope Clement effectively locked down himself in the Vatican during the Black Death. Effectively, he isolated a papal palace at Avignon. Okay, so that was Avignon, which I believe is France. Was that maybe the anti-pope? So maybe he was in France at the time when it got serious. Yeah, apparently so. Apparently so. So, yeah, I mean, and part of the problem was a lack of critical thinking and a lack of, you know, too much superstition, right? Because when it broke out, they thought it was witches, and a lot of cats were killed being familiar spirits. And that did not help the problem. Look, it would have been a disaster anyway. I don't think that was, you know, a major contributor to what had happened. But sort of killing the cats allowed rats to flourish. So superstition actually worked against it. Just like, and it's strange, isn't it strange that it hasn't changed, right? Like we had a plague recently with the COVID-19, and superstition again raised its head, where people said, oh, we can't cancel church services because, you know, God's going to defeat this thing. And they had church services, and it really spread through these gatherings of people. So, you know, not much has changed, really. We have superstition versus actual science and understanding, and superstition just makes things worse. But I don't know whether the killing cats thing is a myth or whether it's actually true. I think it was true, but it didn't like cause the plague, but it didn't help. You know, like it didn't help. Yeah. So you know, and I'm not saying that hey, the people leaving their churches open and trying to, you know, fight the government for closing churches because you know, they think it's the government trying to kill Christianity and they want to have services to help by the Lord. I'm not saying that caused the pandemic. What I'm saying is that it didn't help. And so from the Black Plague killing cats to now not closing churches when there's a pandemic, not much has changed. Superstition versus science.
to them by opening spiritual doors or sinful doors that God has told us not to open. I believe we may be witnessing this with the actress Jenna Ortega. Many of her fans were frightened after seeing recent images of her that looked nothing like her old images. It appears that something negative is at work with.
Yeah. So Jenny Ortega, she started Wednesday when she was pretty young. You know, not as young as the character. I don't think she was 14 or something, but I think she was 18. Like, she was pretty young. And she's growing up. She's getting into her tweens. She is growing up. She is taking a lot of jobs that are modeling jobs, right? So, you know, when she's growing up, she's going to look less childish. You know, you look a bit more childish at 18 than you do at 25, right? And she's taking jobs that are more adult orientated, because in Wednesday she's playing a young girl. Yes. Then she took Scream roles, or she did the Scream things first, and you know, it's just that she's growing up. So she was born in 2002, making me feel incredibly old. So she's 23 at the moment. So she's just sort of reached 23. And it feels kind of weird, it feels kind of weird me commenting on a person that I don't know. But she is a public celebrity, so, you know, that's okay. But she sort of transitioned out of sort of Scream franchise to older roles, to Wednesday, right? And this photo was for a premiere of Wednesday, right? It was for a premiere of a goth. You know, her gothic look is what sort of sells Wednesday Addams, because that's what it's based on. It's based on a sort of gothic cartoon or comic, a sort of newspaper comic that had a sort of loving family presented in a gothic horror style, and that was the catch. So it's not like, so as part of her promotional material, she's going to look the part, and everybody will understand that except for this Christian, apparently. But I do want to point out, and as I sort of looked up, okay, well, what's she been doing lately? And I mean, I think she's very, very talented. I loved her in Wednesday. I thought she was absolutely fantastic. But I really wanted to look and see whether she is, you know, turning more, like whether she's just turning dark kind of thing. And what I found is that recently she did a cover for a French edition of Vogue, or Mexican edition of Vogue, sorry. So this Mexican edition of Vogue, this is the stuff she was wearing. She looks very natural. She's got a crown of flowers. It's sort of, you know, it's really a dramatic change from the goth of Wednesday. This was September 2025. So no, she's not. Oh, she's suddenly turned dark and she can't do anything else. She's turned evil. No, it's a role, my guy. It's a role. And when you get her on the cover of Vogue Mexico, she's doing modeling, okay? She's doing modeling as sort of a girl next door look. And that's fine. She's allowed to do that. She's not giggling and being silly as much. Yes, she's growing up. She's 23. When you first saw her, she was probably, you know, 20 or 18. It's called growing up, and she's got a career. Like, this isn't like, okay, let's compare her when she's like, you know, 16 to when she's 23. What are we doing here? I don't understand. Especially when she's doing a premiere of a goth show that she is the main star in. Everybody understands, hey, she's got to turn up and, for the fans or for whoever's watching, represent her character. It's kind of weird, right? It's kind of weird. I do want to show, though. Okay, so this was 5 months ago, and I'll just show a little bit so I don't get copyright struck or anything. Okay, so this is her interview with Vogue for Vogue Mexico, the presentation that I just gave you.
I used to do this on set because sometimes the spiders get a little scared. If you configure yourself in the right way, they'll start to make webs in your hand. Isn't that crazy?
Right. It's just a normal person. It's just a normal woman doing her career. She's playing her part. She's an actor, a very good actor, I might add. She's fantastic. And the reason why I think she's fantastic is because that role of Wednesday, who was previously played by Christina Ricci, who did a fantastic job playing Wednesday, right? I like her better than Christina Ricci as Wednesday. And that is a big ask because Addams Family Values, if you haven't seen that film, it is awesome. It is fantastic. And I think she's done fantastic. So, if you look at other stuff and don't use your power of discernment to, use your feelings, you can actually see she's doing a wide range of things, not being completely stereotyped to goth youth kind of stuff. She has got a varying wide array of things, but she's going into modeling. She's doing other acting. I think she might be doing White Tiger in the Marvel franchise. Why is she a demon? Why? It's ridiculous.
In her to create such a drastic change in her appearance. People are saying her involvement in the show Wednesday, which has some connections to the occult, has led to this. She also was working on a...
Yeah, no, it hasn't. If you look at her Vogue interview, and I did because I really want to fact check what these idiots... I know, I'm fact checking Christian fundamentalists who believe in demons. I don't know why I put myself through this, but when you fact check it, it's kind of bullshit. Like this whole idea that her persona, her entire image now is just goth. It's not. It's just you don't look hard enough. Now, The Weeknd, he sucks. Yes, The Weeknd sucks. Okay, he did that horrible... So he did a horrible show with... and it's really bad, because I don't think The Weeknd's music is actually bad. Okay, he basically is a pop artist that does pretty good music and really bad television, really bad shows for like Netflix and stuff. He did something, I didn't see it, my wife did and told me about it. But he did a show where he kind of made himself the hero when he really shouldn't have. I think that he's probably a pretty awful person. A pretty awful person, to be honest with you. What was it? It was... Yeah, he was arrested for allegedly punching a police officer. Which, I mean, anybody else that's not a star, they would be absolutely in prison. But he pleaded no contest and was sentenced to complete 50 hours of community service. I mean, he describes drinking heavily and then doing ridiculous stuff. I don't think he's a very good person, but that doesn't mean he's a demon. That's the thing. Like, we're not talking about whether he's a good guy or whether he's, done some stupid stuff or whether he is, Justin Bieber-like drama happen. We're discussing whether he is a demon or Jenny Ortega for simply doing some work with him is a demon. So I don't know how he gets, I don't know how she gets demonic being associated with just a guy who seems like a bit of a douche. I don't know how that works. I don't know the guy, though, just from what I've heard and what my wife has told me about his show. It's been very terrible. I'm trying to find the name of it. I can't find the name of it. Apparently he's not very well regarded in that area. But, I have my opinions. I don't see why it makes him a demon.
Movie with the musician The Weeknd. Here it says that she felt very lost when beginning that movie with him and that it was a strange time in her life.
Yeah, maybe. How does that mean demonic? Like, how does that mean demonic? Like, this is the thing. She says, oh, it's a very strange time in my life and I felt weird when doing it. Sure. She may not have been comfortable with his take on it. I know that he sort of I'm struggling to find the show. If anybody knows, let me know. The Weekend show about woman in modeling. The Idol, right? The Idol, alongside Lily Rose Depp. Now, the problem is that apparently it was supposed to be a show. Yeah, The Idol. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Zach. Sorry. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it. The Idol, it basically was supposed to be a show about how a woman got drawn into a relationship with a producer and sort of exploited, right? It was supposed to be this show about how a young girl can be drawn into these sort of exploitative relationships in the modeling and in general the entertainment industry, and exploited not only for their work but also for sex and drugs and all of this kind of stuff. And really it sort of had an about face with this twist that apparently The Weeknd kind of insisted on. That was, oh, well, let's make it so he isn't exploiting her, and he was playing the bad guy, the producer who was exploiting her. He turned it into, well, she's exploiting him, actually. And it was kind of, really bad, as it makes a excuse for these people, and more specifically men in positions of power, to exploit women, because no, in actual fact, they're exploiting him. And it is ridiculous. It is horrible. It is, that is, I have not seen The Idol, but I have seen some reviews on it and stuff, and the whole premise is, like, it comes from nowhere, it gets shoehorned in, and it's obvious that somebody said, no, let's not make it about what it was originally supposed to be. Really shocking stuff. Because that gives them an excuse to say, oh, look, it wasn't me exploiting her, it was her exploiting me. No. And so I'm not like, but where does being very lost in a strange time in your life, doing a movie with somebody, equate to demon-possessed? It doesn't.
I believe this is no coincidence. Look at this concert performance by The Weeknd, where he subliminally puts the word Satan.
Yeah. Okay. Is that Satan? It's sort of cut off, but sure, it could be. It could be. The Weeknd is kind of a strange dude. Does that mean he's possessed? No. He's a strange dude. Like, even I'll admit he's a strange dude. Yeah. Yeah, does that mean he's a Satanist? No. Does that mean he's demon-possessed? No. He's just a strange dude. And a lot of these artists, when they're trying to appeal to the sort of emotional, the emotional base of a lot of people they're trying to reach, they will use things that mean something in the culture, right? So culturally, this good versus evil, this binary opposition idea, the good versus evil, the heaven versus hell, the God versus Satan, it is powerful imagery in the cultural mind. So a lot of artists will use it to express something, right? And usually they're using it to express evil or damnation or in some way negative emotions. It doesn't mean that they actually believe in it, and it doesn't mean that it's a real thing. It is simply powerful iconography. And I'm reminded of when Christians went crazy because Billie Eilish used demonic symbology in one of her video clips, like one of her music videos, that it was All the Good Girls Go to Hell, I think. It was about environmentalism, right? Environmentalism is what it was about. It was about, global warming and environmentalism. It was very obvious from the lyrics, it was very obvious from what she was saying, but the symbology was demonic because she was trying to say that poisoning the planet is evil. Okay, that's what she was trying to say. So artists use something called semiotics. Now, semiotics is symbols and signs and things. Another word for it is heuristics. And what that means is a shortcut that points at something. So if you want to say this thing is evil and you want to do it artistically, you could just sit there and go, oh, look, all of this is evil because of this, and this. Or you could just make it demonic to give that artistic impression it is evil. And this is what they're doing. But Christians read into it and go, oh, they're Satan worshippers. They're not. They're not.
On the big screen behind him, do not be deceived. Evil company corrupts good habits. I pray that Jenna Ortega will have an experience like Licencia Wright, who found...
Yeah, I don't know who Licencia Wright was. Apparently she was just sort of somebody that was involved in the industry and then found Jesus. So yeah, it's now she's Christian approved apparently because she found the Lord, which is weird and unsettling.
That nothing in this world can satisfy or bring fulfillment until you've given your life to following Jesus Christ. Once again, Jesus spoke to the people and said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life.
I just knew something was wrong. I was not fulfilled by life. Even if I booked an acting job, it was like, what's the next acting job? If I had money in my pocket, it was like, how much more money can I have? What else can I get from this? It's like nothing literally satisfied. And I just knew something was up. I just knew that this can't be life.
Yeah, and that's a common theme with people in who get successful. They aim for their career. They find everything they want. They want money. They want influence. And really it rings hollow because humans are more complicated than that. Like these some people are happy with superficial, shallow things. Sure, you live your best life. Some people want meaning in their life. Great. Like, yeah, we know that just getting shallow, superficial things isn't going to fulfill you as a human. Yeah, there's other things that we really want to work towards. And it can be really, really unfulfilling to chase after all of these dreams, get them, and they're not what you wanted. I get it. But that doesn't mean the only way you can be happy is finding Jesus. Okay, think about what he said. That's the only way. But there's lots of other people who have become famous that don't believe in Jesus and have found something else to motivate them. They have found something else to do. And usually it's around helping society, helping people, contributing, being something meaningful that you do. It doesn't need Jesus. There's lots of atheists who feel very fulfilled, and they do it, and they feel fulfilled because they haven't just gone for money and power and success and fame. That isn't what they're out there doing. Tim Minchin comes to mind. Awesome guy, comes from my neck of the woods. Did Broadway shows, did fantastic stuff, and he's very, very down to earth, I love my family, I love spending time. This is a guy who's very, very happy and has a very happy life. It never believed in Jesus. You don't need Jesus to be happy. It's just your life has to have something other than material things around them, and it has to have some meaning. And you can find that without Jesus.
My friend called me one day, and he was just talking to me. He's just like, God told me to call you and tell you that you're not in a good place. I can tell you about Jesus, and his spirit set me free. So I'm just sharing it with you. And in that sentence was like the interest.
Yeah, and this is one of the interesting things that I find, because how many times have you had Christians say to you, and I've had it say to me, right, that, hey, the Lord or Jesus wants me, has told me to contact you and tell you that he loves you and you're going through a hard time. Like, I've been told that. And if I was actually a more, sort of credulous person, if I believed things just on what other people said or coincidence, I would have gone, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. They will say it all the time to a lot of different people. The reason is because if you say it to enough people, sooner or later, you'll hit the nail right on the head and you'll tell somebody exactly what they want to hear. Doesn't mean that, like, the amount of times I've had people tell me in comments or face-to-face, just, oh, you know, the Lord wants you to come over because you're having a really tough time and, you know, he feels for you. And it's like, what tough time am I having? What are you talking about? But they'll keep saying it to people again and again. And odds on that somebody's having, you know, spiritual warfare or a slightly tough time. It doesn't mean that God actually told them to do that. They will just do it to everybody. And it's amazing that, well, it's not amazing. I get that people sort of, you know, people go, well, that's amazing that you knew I was in this place and knew that I needed something. Hallelujah. And I get why that's really, really, why it's, you know, you want to do that. I get it. But the question is, how often do they say this to people? How often do they do this? And usually it's, you know, when you talk with usually it's all the time to everybody. But they don't count the misses, they only count the hits. And I get why it's very, very tempting to go in for, how could they possibly have known? But that's what evangelizing is. It's telling everybody that they're in a bad place and that only you can save them. That's what it is.
Just clicked. I knew something happened, but I knew there was something different in my spirit. I felt free, and my mind wasn't tripping anymore. It was like, I'm actually free.
I fell in love with Jesus, and I'm still in love. Amen.
And I really worry about this because there's a lot of pressure for religious people not to say that they're doing badly, because if you're doing badly, you know, you don't have the light of Jesus in you. And it's a real worry because, you know, I think that a lot of religious people, and from what I've heard of people that have come out of religion, feel a lot of pressure to go, oh, my life's fantastic. It's all amazing. And, you know, I'm in love with Jesus and it's just the best ever. Even though they don't actually feel that way. It's not only trying to convince other people, but trying to convince themselves that they aren't having a hard time. And I feel that that's dangerous because we want to be able to say, hey, I'm not doing the best. Right? Like, we can't just pretend. Fake it till you make it is not a good idea when it comes to emotions, how your life is doing, how you feel about your life. It's not good because those emotions will come up eventually. Now, that's the first video. So I'm going to be doing a long stream because I feel good today. I do feel good today. And I'm not making that up. I do feel good. I got two. I didn't know this one would go so long, but I did promise demons and dragons. So I got to find my dragon one because it's dragons. It's dragons. Anyone here play D&D? I play D&D, or I try to play D&D. I want to play more. But Dungeons and Dragons, we have to have the we've had the dungeons or the demons. Now we gotta have the dragons. So sorry about this, peeps. It's gonna be a long stream. Buckle up. Buckle the F up. Why does it keep going to that one? I don't like that one. This one? This one, maybe? Oh, that's cool. I'll mix it up. Okay, so this is the same guy, Sling and Stone. This is the thing. Oh, 5e. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, look, I played a little bit of D&D, and I feel like I've gotten, you know, that fix on it. I've gone, oh, that was so much fun. I got to do this again. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, I'm really keen. I'm really into it. It's like playing, you know, a board game, not having played it for years and going, I forgot how fun this was. AD&D 2nd edition. Wow. Okay. That's a way back on the time machine, Sith. I gotta say, I loved it when I started. Look, Thaco is the devil. If there's something demonic out there, it's Thaco, okay? So, you know, you're obviously playing the devil's one. Because that's a thing. People love long streams. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not, Kip. I never know. No, I don't want to do that. Why are you doing that? The people love long. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not. I really don't. I never know. Kip confuses me. I don't know. Yes, Thaco. Yes. To hit at armor class 0. If you're using Thaco, you're doing the devil's business, quite frankly. How dare you? How dare you? No. No. Well, look, all my D&D homies, this one's for you. All right, dragons for the crew. Dragons for the party, all right? Don't split the party. Let's go. This is the same guy. It is sling, stone and sling, presumably. So I don't know his name. He does do Kirby-like stuff, which always makes me laugh. So it always makes me laugh. So I gotta do another one of this guy because it makes me giggle. And as I said in the start, I had a depressing one about mental health and stuff. Nah, not at the moment. We've been through too much. It's too crazy at the moment. Things are happening. We need a laugh. This guy's hilarious.
More than 4,000 years ago, a scribe in ancient Mesopotamia wrote a curious word on a clay tablet, Uzum Gal. The word is in Sumerian, humanity's oldest written language, and is believed to be the oldest known word for dragon.
Yes, I told you, dragon. It's dragons all the way down.
It's composed of the words Gal, big, and Uzum, snake.
Big snake. Okay. Big snake. I'm not sure that big snake is dragon or Bahamut. Or Sardior. Look, it could be Tiamat. It could be Tiamat. Look, bets are on Tiamat. Okay. Let's take a poll. I'm feeling very fun today. Let's do a poll. Who will be the first Mesopotamian dragon mentioned? What do we got? We got Bahamut. If I can remember how to spell it. Bahamut. We have Tiamat. I'm probably saying that really badly. I'll put down Leviathan. And I will put down Behemoth. All right. Take your bets, people. Place your bets. Let's do it. Let's do it. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Who is the first big snake mentioned by the guy here? Sarador is the ruby dragon, lord of the neutral dragons. Oh, now I know. Yeah, okay. 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 Was Bahamut a real dragon, or was that just in AD&D? Have I now engaged in spiritual warfare against Christians? Bahamut. Let's see. It's apparently a monster that holds up the earth. Okay. According to Zachariah Al-Quazani. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, it's a fish? All right. Well, I mean, a fish can be a dragon. I'm not stopping it. I'm not stopping it.
Similar to the mystery of pyramids popping up all around the world between cultures who supposedly had no contact with each other, we see the same enigma of cultures far and wide, all depicting dragons.
Well, they all depict snakes, and they're very, very different. Like the Chinese dragons are very different to the Western ones, the Germanic kind of depictions of dragons. The only real similarity is they're sort of reptilian and sort of snake-like. Essentially, that's the only real similarity between them. There's some vast differences.
So around the same time period in, China, South America, Africa, all these.
Yes, because I get all of my credible information from fucking Joe Rogan. Yes. Yeah, that's where I get my information from. This is the Joe Rogan show. So yeah, we're going to Joe Rogan for our information here, which, depending on the person he has on, can be good. But let's not forget he had Wes Huff on. All right, let's not forget that. That one's for you, Kip. That one's for you.
Different Rome, all these places, images depicted people fighting dragons, right? And every dragon was slightly different, but it was all a giant scaly animal that could fly.
One of the earliest depictions.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah. Yeah, this is Patreon. I probably wouldn't subscribe. Look, they're all just scaly reptiles that could fly. But there's some significant differences there that he's not telling you about, because the Chinese dragons did not look like, they did not have wings, and they did not fly with any kind of, flapping of wings, or they basically had a pearl that allowed them to fly. It was the source of their power. They had a pearl in their head that allowed them to fly. So they just sort of, went like a lizard up a window kind of thing. They didn't actually have wings. So we have some problems which, yeah, superficially, if you want to keep it very vague and say, hey, they were giant scaly animals that could fly, yes, but there's some significant differences in there.
Of dragons or giant snakes is in the Enuma Elish from the 2nd millennia BC. In the Babylonian version.
And I remember Kip mentioning the Enuma Elish. I really do remember that. Look, yeah, Jinx, I think that Joe Rogan used to have some credibility when he would sort of say, hey, I'm just your average idiot that doesn't understand stuff, right? Because that used to be his position. He's like, I'm just some guy off the street kind of thing. But then he pivoted into, I can tell what's real and what's not. And I sort of had said this in a previous stream. So it's when he pivoted into that sort of, well, now I've listened to so many people, I'm now an expert on stuff. That's when it all went downhill, because obviously he has the same understanding as just somebody off the street. It's just his opinion, and he can't tell who's a, dodgy grifter from who actually has correct information. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson has correct information. Other people do not,
Version of this story, a serpent deity monster called Tiamat emerged from.
And the winner is Tiamat. Well done to the 40%. Okay, so half said Tiamat, half said Leviathan. So not bad, not bad. So yeah, I'm gonna say you got it right. I'm gonna pay that one for the chat. Yep, chat 1, Mark 0.
The sea to threaten all of creation. A young god, Marduk, takes up the challenge, slaying Tiamat and rescuing the people.
Oh god, and I've heard so much from Jordan Peterson on this. Like, oh, this dragon was the symbology for chaos. So, if Marduk is the king, he represents order, and slaying the dragon of chaos is the king establishing order. And it's like, great, but it didn't actually happen. And so Jordan Peterson would say, well, what do you mean? What do you mean by actually? What do you mean by actually? And it's like, dude, like, we're actually talking whether the events took place in reality or not. Like, this is the thing. It can all be symbology. I've got no problem with that. It can be symbology. But that's not what these people are saying. And it's weird that Christians who will say, oh, look, the story of Marduk slaying Tiamat, with Tiamat being the a symbol of chaos and disorder and death and destruction, yet they can't piece together when artists use Satan to depict evil. They can't piece that together, that symbology together, that it's not actually demonic, they're just... But other people's religions, they'll say, oh, that's just symbology. How do you do that? How do you go, well, that symbology is no real dragon, it's a symbol of this, and then when applied to your own, you go, no, they mention Satan, it's got to be literal Satan. I have no idea.
Large serpent-like creatures that live in the sea is something that's also documented in the Bible. In that day, the Lord with his sword and...
Yeah, and there's Leviathan. So well done. Tiamat wins by a nose, or a snout, possibly. by a snout. Okay, so yeah.
Great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. The book of Job, chapter 41, documents this Leviathan in great detail. Here's a few verses that really stand out. His sneezings flash forth light, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning.
His sneezings. Mighty Dragon sneezes a lot, does he? Okay. Okay, it's documented. That's true. I missed that. Yeah, it's documented. It is written. It is written. Someone wrote that shit down. Yes, someone did write that down. It is something that happened. Yes. Yes.
Out of his mouth go burning lights. Sparks of fire shoot out.
Ooh.
Smoke goes out of his nostrils as from a boiling pot, and burning rushes. His breath kindles coals, and a flame goes out of his mouth. St. George and the...
Yeah, so I can't explain to you all the number of ways that actually breathing fire would be biologically impossible. And Christians will point to, say, the bombardier beetle, right? Like, oh, but the bombardier beetle, it has sort of boiling hot chemicals that it squirts. Number one, a beetle has very different anatomy, and it has a very different type of skin. It has an exoskeleton, which nobody is saying the dragon does. And there is very big difference between having a sac in the abdomen to hold this stuff made out of, you know, sort of chemical resistant material, and breathing it from your mouth. There's a big difference between the two of those. There is no real way to biologically get something breathing fire to work. It just doesn't work. It is too, like, the heat, the temperatures that you're talking about is just too much. It's unrealistic. It's ridiculous. In the past, they've sort of said, hey, dragons flying is kind of ridiculous. I kind of agree. Something that big would have difficulty flying. It would have to have very hollow bones. Sure, why not?
Dragon is one of the most well-known stories about dragons, and it's very similar to that one mentioned in the Bible. St. George is believed to have lived during the latter part of the 3rd century AD and served as a soldier in the Roman army. The battle with the dragon is as follows. Thus,
that's a wyvern. That's a wyvern, thank you. And look, the dragon that St. George battled, apparently, was not a flying creature. It was sort of a lizard-like creature. The account never says, like, it says that I don't think it has wings. It doesn't have anything like it. It's not sort of our ideas of a dragon, right? Like, it's not this Western idea that he is currently showing on screen. And I don't think that the early depictions of it's not actually that big. It's not a giant creature. It's like a, you know, the depictions of it's kind of a smaller than his horse. Like, it's actually not that big at all. Maybe size of a human. Now, there have been some theories about it, some hypotheses about it, that it was maybe a crocodile, right? Or it was some other big lizard, like a monitor lizard, a Komodo dragon, something like that. You know, at the time, I believe it was in Africa, so it is quite likely, if it was a large reptile, it was probably a crocodile. And we all know that fish stories exist. They get larger and more expressive. The fish gets larger and larger, you know, and this is probably what happened. Mythologizing of this story is probably what happened. But we don't know because there's not enough information about it. But to say it was a giant reptile is not exactly true, because it wasn't like bigger than St. George. In fact, it was probably smaller than St. George. So, you know, this whole idea of a massive giant thing, no.
As they spake together, the dragon appeared and came running to them, and St. George was upon his horse and drew out his sword.
So what I mean, like, it is not in the early depictions of the what I would call a myth now. It's not even winged. you know, it has no wings. It is not a huge creature. It is, you know, roughly the size of a large dog, which would fit a crocodile. And there's no story of it breathing fire either. So, you know, it really was not that huge, was not breathing fire, did not fly, did not have wings, and was most likely just a crocodile.
And garnished him with the sign of the cross, and rode heartily against the dragon which came towards him, and smote him with his spear, and hurt him sore, and threw him to the ground. And after said that to the maid, deliver to me your girdle, and bind it around the neck of the dragon, and be not afeared. When she had done so, the dragon...
If it was a crocodile, it's like a Nile crocodile, it's more likely that you bind its snout, its like mouth. Because one thing about crocodiles, right, is that they can very easily be stopped from biting by just putting rope around its snout. Because the way that a crocodile's jaws works, it has huge bite force bearing down, but it does not have a lot of power to open its mouth. So that could be where the myth came from. If he said, hey, bind its mouth, you can basically make a crocodile powerless by putting, you know, that's why Steve Irwin, Rip Steve Irwin, he was a great guy. I admit it, he was a great guy. He would jump on their back and basically push down on their mouth. And the thing is, the semi-weight of a human, just the force of a human pushing on it, would stop them from opening their mouth, because they cannot open their mouth with a lot of power. It's the bite down that's powerful, not the open up. So if you know that, you can sort of exploit it.
The dragon followed her as it had been a meek beast and debonair. When it comes to...
Oh yes, very debonair. Yes, had a martini and everything. Just so debonair, yes. Yes.
Dragons in Chinese culture, their history dates back thousands of years.
Yes, they do.
The Chinese dragon has a long serpentine body that's generally wingless with an anthropomorphic...
Generally wingless? No, it is wingless, sir. Don't say generally. It was wingless. There were other creatures in Chinese mythology that did have wings, but not the dragon. The dragon was not a winged creature. It flew by magic, essentially. And they weren't like the Western dragons, who were sort of, absolutely, rip Steve Irwin. Pour one out for Steve Irwin. He died as he lived, bothering an animal. Too soon? But look, he died the way he lived, and that's all you can say. He died doing what he loved. That's how we all want to go, right? Look, these Chinese dragons were completely different from the Western ones. No, it wasn't just they had a beard and they were scaly and, you know, they didn't have wings. That wasn't the only differences. A lot of the differences were in how they worked. Like, there was nothing sort of mystical about the Western dragons. There was about the Chinese dragons. They were intelligent. They could talk to people. They were seen as spirits. Or you know, sort of mighty spirits that inhabited and were responsible for areas. Like, you might have a river and there was a dragon associated with that river, or an ocean and there was a dragon associated with that. They were completely different to the Western portrayal of them, and not just in physicality, but like what they did and what they were. So they were not the same thing.
Face and complete with a beard. In ancient China, dragons were considered gods, and the historic...
I don't think they were really considered gods, but they were powerful spirits. Like, they were supposed to be very powerful spirits who protected or inhabited an area and basically had that as their domain. So they would sort of say, hey, if a tsunami happened, well, that was the dragon of the ocean getting angry at them for some reason. Or if the river flooded, it was the dragon of that river causing the river to flood. It wasn't so much that they were gods, as in they had control of this, but, you know, very powerful spirits, gods, there's a bit of overlap between that. So it's very... it's kind of difficult to separate them, kind of thing.
Symbol dating sometime around 5000 BC became the crest of the Chinese emperor only the emperor was allowed to use the dragon as a symbol. When it comes to the Chinese calendar, every animal that's linked to a specific month.
Okay, so this is showing how much he knows about what he's talking about, because he said that every animal is linked to a specific month. Not true. Not true at all. It's not linked to months at all. It's linked to years, right? So dragon is 2024, 2012, 2000, and my birth year, 1976. So I am born in the year of the dragon. So it's not month, it's year, right? And currently we are in the year of the horse. Okay.
Is an animal that's known to exist. The only one on that list that people claim never existed.
Yeah. They put a dragon on it. So what? And you're saying that it's the only one they claim to never exist. Yeah, but they believed it did. So here's the thing. Just because they believed it existed, and it's the only one on there that we say now doesn't exist, doesn't mean it actually did. Okay, there's a lot of animals on heraldry in England, right? And you can't just go, oh, well, because they're on heraldry, they obviously existed. The unicorn, the griffin, the dragon, they didn't exist, my guy. They didn't exist. And the origin of the dragon in China is probably linked to finding dinosaur bones and going, what could possibly have made these bones? Very large creatures, very large reptilian creatures. And then the mythology takes over. It's not a problem. You're a wooden dragon? Oh, Jedi. I'm a fire dragon. So you're in trouble, mate. So the elements, I believe, were the months. Oh, like elementals. Yeah. You're right. It's the elements that govern the month, I believe. So you had wind, fire, earth, water, metal, I believe. I could be wrong on that. I'll look it up. Of Chinese zodiac. Wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Yes, correct. Okay, so there's 5 of them kind of thing. No, it's not the month. It's those born ending in 0 or 1 are metal, 2 or 3 are water, 4 or 5 are wood, and years that end in 6 or 7 are fire. Yes, so in 76, because it's 6, I'm a fire dragon. Who knew? Who knew? Metal pig. That's just boss. That's just absolutely... I'm imagining a Dark Souls kind of, mechanical boar right now. That's pretty baller. That's pretty good. I got to admit, that's pretty good.
Is the dragon. North America actually has a history linked to dragons as...
No, it doesn't.
As well. America is actually referred to as the land of the plumed serpent, which refers...
Yeah, plumed serpent does not equal dragon, and that was Quetzalcoatl, and he was a god in their mythology, not really a dragon. I mean... And it was also a feathered serpent, a plumed serpent, feathered. The other depictions of dragons, they did not have feathered wings. Chinese did not have any wings, and the few dragons that did have wings later on in Western mythology, they had bat wings, so it's not the same thing.
To the Aztec god Quetzalcoatl. The god is also known as Kukulclan among the Yucatec Maya and is viewed as the feathered serpent or plumed serpent. But even stranger than that...
Yeah, that's not really strange. I don't know. They call you Mr. Pig? Okay, it's getting into an Animal Farm thing over here. It's getting into Animal Farm. Look, they're doing a movie of Animal Farm, and I am so... Like, if they try to make it nice and jolly instead of the dark warning against power corrupting, I don't want to know. Like, seriously, that book was... amazing, and it sounds like they're going to ruin it. But yeah, sounds like Animal Farm. Pigs are taking over.
Is the legend of the Piasa bird found painted on the cliff sides of the Mississippi River that shares a lot of similarities with dragons. In 1673, Jacques Marquette saw a painting on a limestone bluff overlooking the Mississippi River while exploring the area. He recorded the following description. While skirting some rocks, which by their height and length inspired awe, we saw upon one of them 2 painted monsters, which at first made us afraid.
Is that the actual painting, or is it just somebody's, you know? Oh, that was from Lion King. Oh, okay, gotcha. I don't know my Lion King references. Oh, we got a wood rat. Cool. Hey, rats are cool, man. Rats are really cool. Rats fight. We love rats in Australia. We love them. I mean, not the actual rats, but people with natures like rats.
And upon which the boldest savages dare not long rest their eyes. They are as large as a calf. They have horns on their heads like those of a deer. A horrible look.
Yeah, so dragons famously in China, they had horns, but not like a deer. Why would they have it like a deer? Like, we're talking about stag's antlers here. And yeah, they're creating mythological beasts from what they see around them. So of course they have antlers, where the ones where no deer exist, they didn't have antlers. So why are we thinking these are the same things?
Red eyes, a beard like a tiger's, a face somewhat like a man's, a body covered with scales, and so long a tail that it winds all around the body, passing above the head and going back between the legs, ending in a fish's tail. Green, red, and black are the 3 colors composing the picture.
I see no green in this picture. Oh, maybe a tiny bit. Maybe a tiny bit there. Maybe a tiny bit, but yeah.
Moreover, these 2 monsters are so well painted that we cannot believe that any savage is their author.
Yeah, they're not savages, by the way. It just really shows the colonialism. Oh, they're savages. They couldn't possibly have come up with anything, intricate as this. What? The Mayans had like a superior version of farming. They did farming really, really well. They were actually complex and vibrant societies. This whole idea that the natives of these places where the English went to and colonized are all savages is just a gross misrepresentation of the peoples that live there. Because it's easy to take the land of people you say are savages rather than a vibrant culture with its own techniques and things that they do well. It's wild.
Good painters in France would find it difficult to reach that place conveniently to paint them. Here is approximately the shape of these monsters as we have faithfully copied it. Some people claim to see dragon-like creatures up to this very day. The Loch Ness Monster in
Yeah, we're onto the Loch Ness Monster. That's right. It's a dragon. The Loch Ness Monster. Famously can't fly. Famously can't be found. If that is anything, it's a plesiosaur. But, I don't think it exists. I think that it was, again, sort of people seeing shapes in things and it being really good for local tourism.
Scotland is very similar to the...
Oh, yeah, obviously. Yeah, the best photo ever. The best photo ever. It's interesting as more and more people went there with more and more cameras. The photos of it didn't get any better. In fact, they probably got worse. I wonder why. Why is it that people filming cryptids can never have a clear shot? Is this a mystical force that prevents people? I don't know. Maybe it's demons again. I don't know. But it's weird, right? It's weird as we've gotten more and more cameras and the quality has gotten better and better. The photos just, they not only don't get better, we get less and less of the photos. Probably because clearer cameras will show you, oh, that's not a thing at all. That's a branch.
Sea serpent accounts that we read in the book of Isaiah and Job.
Oh, yeah.
One of the strangest recent claimed dragon sightings was from a SpaceX rocket launch.
I'm sorry, a SpaceX rocket launch? What?
This video is taken from the SpaceX YouTube channel from a live stream of their rocket going up into space. And you can see in the left-hand corner here, something looks very clearly like it's flapping its wings and then shoots off to the side. This is definitely not a bird.
It's definitely not a dragon. That's just a piece of debris. Why is that not a piece of debris?
Bird or some sort of animal or creature up this high. And yes, debris.
Yeah, and a dragon's probably not going to be up that high either. Like, what is this? I'm going to feel real stupid when the guy goes to do the Red Bull jump, goes up really high and is eaten by a dragon halfway down. But, to me, that just looks like a piece of debris that gets caught in the wake of the jet and gets pushed away. Why is this a dragon?
Debris does fall off of this craft as it shoots up higher into the sky, but seeing it look like it flaps its wings and then drastically shoot off in a different direction, not falling in the same...
Or it's just a piece of debris. And you've gone, those are wings, when it's just a flat piece of debris that happens to be wobbling. This is the worst. This is flat Earth level evidence, is what this is.
Same trajectory is definitely very strange. The definition for...
That's it. That's apparently the latest dragon sighting. That is the dragon. Like what appears to be, if you look at it frame by frame, a flat piece of debris.
Very strange. The definition for dragon is...
Yeah, so when a rocket's going up, it's sort of unloading a whole bunch of fuel in order to thrust. And you can see that in the other picture, right? The other picture. It is producing a whole load of thrust. So it wouldn't be unusual if a piece of debris would go down as the rocket's rising, like enter this area where it's actually pushing on the atmosphere and get flung away. I don't know why you would think that's a dragon flapping its wings to get away. Why?
And then shoots off to the side. This is definitely not a bird or some sort of animal or creature up this high. And yes, debris does fall off of this craft as it shoots up higher into the sky, but seeing it look like it flaps its wings and then drastically shoot off in a different direction, not falling in the same trajectory, is definitely very strange. The definition for dragon...
And you thought dragon instantly. Dragon. Yes, big, flying, scaly, fire-breathing dragon. Right, right. Why doesn't our radar pick up these massive creatures? Who knows? Who knows? You realize a radar would pick up this object. You realize that, don't you? Oh.
In the 1946 Webster's Collegiate Dictionary is pretty interesting. The very first definition says now rare, a huge serpent.
So you're going back to the very first dictionary. When was this? I mean, Webster's has been around a long time. Like a long time. But, I don't know why it would be going back to the very first dictionary in 1828. 1828. So just the start of the 19th century. Now rare. And that's your proof that dragons exist. That people at the time thought that dragons were out there, but they were really rare. Gotcha.
Second says, a fabulous animal, generally a monstrous winged, scaly serpent, lizard, or saurian, which means a large reptile. If dragons did or do still exist, here's one reason as to why no one ever finds their bones in the fossil record.
So when you break that down, you think about the fact that large birds had a hard time being fossilized because their bones are so porous, right? So because...
Yes, but we do have fossilized birds, and we do have fossilized flying reptiles, like there's a Quetzalcoatl. What is it? A Quetzalcoatl dinosaur? Quetzalcoatlus? Right. Give me one sec. Open image. So this is obviously a computer generated. So don't at me saying, oh, it's all fake. Yeah, this is just computer generated, but that's what we thought it looked like. Quetzalcoatlus. And it was massive. It was absolutely massive. Like it was gigantic. I'll see if I can find a picture of it next to somebody. And we found bones of them, and they could fly, right? So we know that there should be some evidence of dragons if they did exist, but they don't. But they don't. Hold on a sec. So this is about the size of it, right? Big fucking bird. All right, big bird. That's the size of it with human to scale. I couldn't find my rock hammer. That's basically the size of it. But we found fossils of these things, right?
bones, they have like hollowish bones, they break down very easily and they don't fossilize. So it's like the science is saying that if there were lizards big enough to fly around and eat people, they didn't have bones that could fossilize.
So it'd be like an eagle.
Right. And that's why, that's why.
Yes, but these things that were big enough to fly around and eat people, we still found fossils of them. So yeah, it's kind of like, yes, we would find fossils if they were around. Some fossils, or a partial fossil, we would find something. Imprint fossils also don't need the bones. So an imprint fossil is when something makes an imprint from dying. The actual body decays away and leaves the imprint in stone, right? Like, so it has to be some sort of malleable mud or some other substance that can make an imprint on it. But we find those all the time. But what we don't find is any evidence of dragons.
All these human populations around the world have depictions of them because.
Is the dictionary saying that the serpent dragons are rare, saying the definition of dragon is rarely used? No, I think if, like, dictionaries should do it from the most commonly used to the thingo. Now rare. I don't know. A huge serpent. Okay, so maybe it's saying that usage, like a huge serpent, is now rarely used. And don't, oh, hello, time travelers. Welcome. You've come back to the Age of Dragons, which is apparently now. Look, I can't do any more depressing stuff, so we're now looking at somebody who thinks that dragons exist and that they're flying around rockets. Because apparently that's a thing. And I can only stress, do not get your information from the guests of Joe Rogan, okay? Just please. Get them from credible sources, please.
And populations around the world have depictions of them because they did actually exist.
Dragons probably don't still exist.
I somehow suspect this is AI image, probably from the horn growing out of the eye socket. Okay, it's suspicious to me. I don't think this is a real picture. I think that this has been doctored in some way.
In the same sense as these ancient accounts, although that SpaceX video...
Yeah, that's the dragon, apparently. That's a dragon, if you didn't know. If you are time travelers, welcome back to the Age of Dragons, 2026, yes.
...is pretty strange, but the Bible does tell us of a different dragon, and I can assure you this one still exists today.
Oh, you can assure me. Oh, yes, because your evidence has been stellar so far. Your evidence has been overwhelming for giant scaly lizards that are flying around SpaceX rockets. Yes, absolutely.
So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was cast to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Satan is referred to as the dragon, and he, his angels, and the other evil hosts still exist today.
Somehow I think that's an AI image too. Either that or these angels share wings. They have to like link arms and fly away. They're missing a wing each. Is that Sephiroth? I don't know.
They're probably even connected to these strange sightings of creatures.
Oh, you had to have aliens in it. Yeah. It's aliens now. Did you know it was aliens that were riding the dragons? Yes. Dragon riders of Pern? Absolutely aliens. Because what's a dragon video without aliens? Seriously. I mean, come on.
That people are getting glimpses of all around the world. God tells us the fate of this dragon in Revelation 21:1-3. Then I saw an angel coming down from...
But it's the great... Okay, it's the great... Make dragons great again. That was all I can say.
Heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. He laid hold of the dragon, that serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years.
Yeah? It's been over 1,000 years. Your timeline is off, sir. It's been over 1,000... Your timeline is off, sir. Your timeline is off. 1,000 years. Yeah, it's been over 2,000. We're out by a factor of 2. Like, come on. This is ridiculous.
And he cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal on him so that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years were finished. But after these things, he must be released for a little while. When Satan is released...
But why? But why? But why? He has to be released. Why? But why?
He has one final attempt to try to attack God, his city, and the people who follow him, but this will end very bad for him. And
yeah, and that never made sense to me, because this is all prophecy. The great dragon, the devil, Satan himself, knows the prophecy, knows that it's going to come true, knows that God can tell the future, so he knows that it's accurate, and still wants to do it anyway. Like, at that point, wouldn't you just like, oh, well, I'm not going to beat him. Let's just, you know, go off and do my own thing. Start my own planet. I don't get this. Like, because they're like, oh, well, Satan knows he's going to lose. Then why? What the hell? I don't understand it.
Fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. The devil who deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and they will be tormented day and night forever and ever. The connection between culture...
Yeah, so the devil reads all of that. He's going to be cast into a lake of fire and brimstone where he'll be tortured forever and ever and ever, and goes, yeah, that sounds good to me. Let's do it. That sounds like a good outcome. I don't understand. Like, they talk about this like Satan, you know, guy being, oh, he's so insidious and so intelligent and so cunning and so evil, and he'll get, you know, he'll do all of these cunning things to trick people, and he can't read a fucking prophecy. He can't read a prophecy that apparently, according to him, definitely will come true, but he decides to go ahead with it anyway because reasons. It's wild. It's just wild.
Who had no human-to-human contact, all depicting this same type of creature, to me prove that something along these lines existed. Whether it still exists today, I would say, if anything, what people are seeing is a breakthrough.
I'm sorry, you're pointing to all of these ancient things, and then you're pointing to a D&D representation of Tiamat? Oh no, Tiamat according to D&D is 5-headed, isn't it? What the hell is that? Is that like... Is this more AI gone rogue? Is this more rogue AI? Is this an AI hallucination? I think it is. Does this actually exist? Does this exist? I don't think this was made in the ancient times, sir. I have doubts. I have doubts. Google Images is my friend. Search by image. It's a 3-headed dragon sculpture named Zemi Gorinich at the Kudakina Gora Family Ethnic Amusement Park in the Lipskid region of Russia. A villainous dragon from Slavic folklore. Okay. It took 2 years to build. And when was it made? Let's see. And it was made since 2018. Okay, so it was made in 2018. Okay, it's pretty cool then. Hey, I'm looking at the pictures now. Hold it, I'll share this tab. Look at the pictures now. It's pretty cool. Don't get me wrong, it is pretty damn cool. I probably won't go to Russia to see it, but it's pretty damn cool, and they light fires in its mouth kind of thing. That's pretty baller, but, you know, it's not exactly ancient people like doing depictions of these creatures.
Say, if anything, what people are seeing is a breakthrough from the spiritual realm into our own of different types of hellish creatures, and they for certain are connected to the dragon, also known as Satan. But the good news is, unlike in ancient times, where they feared the dragon...
Yeah, so this is a historical depiction. Definitely historical. How the Reign of Fire that came from? Not 100% sure.
...would come and devour them at any moment. If you believe in...
Maybe that was Lord of the Rings. Maybe that was Smaug.
...in Jesus Christ and have made him the Lord of your life, you have someone infinitely more powerful on your side, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, Jesus Christ, He has the ultimate victory over everything in all of creation. He is the true dragon slayer that you definitely want to follow.
I find it hard to believe that the dragon is insidious, cunning, and manipulative, knows that he's going to lose this battle, and just does it anyway. I find that incredibly hard to believe. And I find it incredibly hard to believe that such an insidious enemy does not know the prophecy that predicts his downfall and know that God is going to make it happen. I have no idea why. But what did we actually see that said that dragons existed? Bad photos? You know, bits of SpaceX rockets that you say, oh, it looks like something flapping its wings. Yeah, debris can look like that, sure. How do we know it's a dragon? Have we ever picked one up on radar? Why not? They're apparently massive scaled creatures. Why wouldn't we pick it up on radar? You know, flocks of birds are picked up on radar. It's wild. I don't know why. And the demon one was even worse because it was all just blurry photos and things like that. Just awful. But this is sort of what makes me laugh. Just the information is so poor. The information is so bad. And these people are so convinced. And well, I'm not sure if he's convinced, but they certainly, like, if you look through the comments to this kind of stuff, it's all absolutely true. Absolutely, dragons are true. And I really wonder about people that sort of fall for this stuff so easily, and why this guy, I mean, Sling and Stone is a terrible channel with sort of 400,000 subscribers. It's wild how much these people make on the ridiculous information that they're presenting. Incredible. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that people do it because it makes them money. It surprises me that people actually fall for it, that people will give them money for saying this nonsense because they feel like it makes them part of something special, something big, something secret, something so secret. You know, like, oh, I know that dragons exist and everyone else is wandering around unaware. No, you're just deluding yourself. But yeah, that was Sling and Stone, and that was dragons and demons and other creatures that we can't find good photos for, have no idea. And Jenny Ortega doing Wednesday is not proof of demons. Nor is a poor person arrested at the border having a nightmare day. That's not proof of demons. If anything, it's proof that the border patrol is demons. But I don't think they're demonic. I don't think humans need demons to do terrible things to each other. I really don't think they do. So I don't believe they exist. And this evidence, this proof you will believe, it's pretty poor. It's pretty poor. Anyway, I'm Mark Reed. If you could like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Helps me out a great deal and helps me do more of these shows, longer shows, stupider shows, with more stupider stuff. And again, I was going to do a thing on sort of a more serious kind of, this is what Christians, this is how their beliefs are dangerous. But we've seen too much problems lately. I'm just going to be doing stuff we can laugh at. And boy, can you laugh at this. This is ridiculous. Demons and dragons and gnomes and bunyips and hobgoblins, and none of it exists. It's time to live in the real world. Get serious. We've got bigger problems than fucking dragons and demons. Come on now. Come on now. Let's do it. Let's live in the real world where there's actual real problems that we have to face. Not how do we keep the dragons away from our SpaceX rockets. That's not a problem, okay? It's not an issue. All right? How do we keep the demons from interrupting my sermon by knocking? Because it could be woodpeckers, but I'm going to believe it's demons. Yeah, no, I think we've got bigger problems, guys. Let's start focusing on actual problems affecting actual people instead of this bullshit. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. That's been me. Please be kind to yourself. Be kind to each other. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.